Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Hey, folks, I just wanted to open up with that. But hey, folks, hope every one of you had a happy 4th of July. Hope you were safe and not playing too much of fireworks and you had a good time with your family and stuff. You had to eat and stuff, maybe see some nice fireworks. You had a good time. And welcome to the month of July. And summertime, so stay cool as well. If you work in a warehouse like I do or work in a certain job where it's overheated weather, make sure you drink plenty of water. Make sure you turn the cold air on in your car, some good air in your core, and just be careful. Don't wear too much warm stuff. But anyway, guys, I'm just wearing my YouTube shirt. Yeah, leave out right now in 93. I wear my black one once in a while, but it's kind of hard to wear that right now because if I wear a black shirt, it'll feel really warm. And this shirt don't feel too bad. The weather out there is like crazy. It's like 80, 90. Feels like 100 degrees almost. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, guys, welcome back to another movie review. I hope y'all enjoyed my review of Legion of Superheroes, guys. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thank you guys for 296 subs. I'm sorry I've been doing videos in a while. In a bit, it's just been busy with work. And of course, 4th of July, holiday time. I don't like doing videos on holidays or on holiday times, but that's just me. You know, when it comes to holidays, you want to spend time with your family, you want to relax. That's what I did. So I didn't do no video on Friday. I just relaxed because it was a holiday. So, but anyway, I'm back on here, guys. Don't think I quit. I just remember I don't like to do videos on the holidays. That's just me. You know, unless I ever got paid for it, I would. But you know, anyway, someday maybe. But anyway, guys, welcome to my channel. Remember, let's leave a McNally 983 with a mask profile picture. You can check out the videos on my other channel, but don't say sub to this one, guys. We're trying to get to 500 subs because my last channel was getting there, and I'm like, I so people don't sub to that one with the Batman mask, the Batman profile picture. Whatever, it don't matter which Batman. Just say Batman. I'll just say Batman. Don't sub to that one. The one with the Jim Carrey one, the mask from the Mask 1994 film that I have a profile pic of from this channel. Stay sub to this channel. I also recommend people to do that if you can. Share my channel with your family and friends. I do appreciate it a lot. It does help support me and support my channel. I appreciate that so much, guys. So we're getting very close to 300. We're getting there pretty soon, you know. And I have no time, any plans to like quit YouTube anytime soon. I'm not quitting, guys. I'll be here all the time. I'm like the bad penny that'll keep popping up. Just like with this movie, it just takes me time to grow. I'll grow again eventually, you know. But we all need room to grow, don't we? Anyway, what guys I've been doing on this channel is on my channel here is a superhero marathon. I've been doing what I call the 2020s era superhero reviews. These are superhero movies that came out in this decade, 2020s, 2020 to 2025, the year we're living in now. And I'm on the year 2023. This film came out in February. This film is the third Ant-Man movie starring Paul Rudd, Evelyn Lilly, I can't say her name right, Michelle Pfeiffer, Jonathan Majors, uh, Michael Douglas, and Catherine, forget her name. No, I got it right here, sorry. Catherine Newton. And it is the 31st film in the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe, that is Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. I didn't see this film in theaters. I do remember seeing the poster for this movie like this from when I went to Disneyland in 2023. The movie was out by then because it was, I went to Disneyland in March 2023. The film came out in February, so. This film was released on February 17th. Like I say, I go by years and months. This film came out in February. But first release of superheroes, then this. But anyway, I liked this film. This is probably my least favorite Ant-Man movie. I'll get to why, but I do like this film. Is this perfect? Some people hate this film, and that's fine. If you hate the film, that's fine. But I don't think it was awful, in my opinion. No. I've seen worse superhero movies or sequels. I definitely think it's better than Eternals and Thor Love and Thunder, in my opinion. I'm not saying this film's perfect. Trust me, I have my issues with the movie. Like I said, it is my least favorite anime movie, but I still like it though. Yeah, I still enjoy it for what it is. Yeah, I don't think it's a completely awful movie like some people might think. But the film is on Blu-ray here. You have one of the family of Paul Rudd, the cast, Catherine Newton, Evan Lilly, and Michelle Pfeiffer. I'm sure Michael Douglas too. All talking about their characters and what's going on in the film with their characters. Talking about when they Kang the Conqueror. Yeah, yeah, just some special features. This is just the Blu-ray of it. That's the slipcover, which I like. It protects the case from getting damaged. At least I think it does. You know, 'cause. 'Cause I hate it when the case gets stained. You know, just like that. But anyway, let's get into production of the movie, shall we? Ahead of the release of Ant-Man and the Wasp, which came out in 2018, which this is the sequel to that came out in 2018. So yeah, and a sequel to the first Ant-Man movie, which came out in 2015. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Ant-Man and the Wasp, just the title of that. Oh, this is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Yeah. Sorry if I didn't say that. Well, I'll put it in the title in the description of the video anyway. Director Peyton Reed said that there was a lot of elements of the film that leave a plot, a lot to play with in a potential third film in the franchise. He highlighted the quantum realm was introduced in Ant-Man, and to further in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Reed said that they were just dipping our toes into it for the previous films. Reed added that he and Marvel Studios were hopeful about a third film and had discussed a potential story point for such a sequel. In February 2019, Hank Pym actor Michael Douglas confirmed that discussion regarding a sequel to Ant-Man and the Wasp had taken place. Though at the time, Evelyn Lilly had not heard of any plans for her character Wasp, Hope Van Dyne. She did respond to the role in, of course, in Avengers Endgame. She said that Hope is a mid-journey. I don't see her journey as being over by any stretch. Michelle Pfeiffer expressed interest in restoring her role of Janet Van Dyne. She did have a small part. Sorry for those puns if I'm not saying that. No. In Avengers Endgame at Tony Stark's funeral. You know. While Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige was asked about the future of Paul Rudd's Scotland Ant-Man in the MCU following Endgame, that the chess pieces were arranged by purpose at the end of the film, of that film. Some taken off the board and others, like Ant-Man, still on the board though, so you never know. Rudd was asked whether he would be returned to the role, either in a third Ant-Man movie or another Heroes MCU franchise. Both the options have been discussed. Reed officially signed on only to direct a third Ant-Man film at the start of November 2019. Rudd was set to star as Lang again, with Lily and Douglas returning. The film is scheduled to begin in January 2021. Layla Reese in 2022. Reed was hired again, despite Marvel's interest in new filmmakers bringing different takes to their heroes for each film, because it felt that he had a real grasp of the Ant-Man universe and wanted to see him return to wrap up his trilogy. But Jeff Lones was hired to rewrite the script from the filming. But due to the COVID-19 pandemic, they had begun working on the screenplay by 2020, so I guess they took a break from filming because of COVID came around. This was around 2021. Well, April 2020, I guess they were planning to film the movie, but that didn't happen because of COVID. Yeah, so a lot of movies, not just the superhero mark, or not just superhero films, but any films that came out early 2020 were delayed because of the pandemic. Yeah, this film has like what one, two, it has Chris McKenna, Eric Pearson, even Paul Rudd, Eric Summers. They received credit for additional material. Reed confirmed that development of the film was continuing during the pandemic. He said that Lily would continue to get equal billing in the film alongside Rudd, as she's a very, very important part. Part of the partnership between Ant-Man and the Wasp, despite rumors that her role will be reduced following comments about the pandemic. Reed added that the story for the film had been cracked through, nothing was official yet. The third film would be a bigger, more sprawling movie than the first. Reed stated that wanted to further explore the quantum realm in the film as a massive world-building undertaking. The heavy metal imagines issues of the 1980s and his favorite science fiction covers. Marvel Studios producer Brian Gray said the film would feel like a real departure from the first two Ant-Man films and a big adventure. Jonathan Majors was cast as Kang the Conqueror for the film, and the character was played as the main antagonist of the film. Jonathan Majors was cast in September 2020, which reported to be the Kang the Conqueror, because the actor was cast as Kang would first portray a version of the character named He Who Remains in the Disney Plus series Loki. The director and head writer of Loki's first season were involved, and Majors' addition to Reed executives at Marvel Studios. Marvel Studios was eager to work with cast Majors after his performance in The Last Black Man in San Francisco. Reed Majors supportive of approaching Majors. Majors was approached for the role without an addition. Later, he noted he had been involved in the film since the beginning before joining Loki. Reed was interested in having Ant-Man and the Wasp going up against a formidable foe in the film, believing Kane to be one of the Marvel Comics long-timers like Loki and Doctor Doom. In November 2020, filming was expected to start in 2021. The following month, Pfeiffer confirmed her involvement. Filming will begin in mid-2021, while she and Douglas both indicated the film would be released in 2022. Just rumors, I guess. Reach revealed that the film's title as Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, or at the time was probably just Ant-Man 3. Yeah. And confirmed return of the characters like Rudd, Lily, Douglas, and Pfeiffer, alongside Majors as Kang. And Kathy Newton joined the film as Cassie Lang, uh, Scott Lang's daughter. You know, Newton originally auditioned her for the role of Kate Bishop in Disney Plus Hawkeye, but Haley Steinfeld was cast instead. Emma Furman, who played the character as teenager in game, was sad by the announcement of taking over the role and hoped to be involved in the MCU in the future. She was in the 2019 film Avengers Endgame when Scott was trapped in the quantum realm. That was her character. Yeah. Later that month, Loveliness revealed that he had turned in the first draft of the script. Marvel had used the COVID-19 pandemic break to do something new and weird with the film. They were inspired by several movies, film starring like Steve Martin and movies like Father of the Bride, Hook, and Jumanji. Feeling that because he married all these Polly characters, he could mix the underdog dad with Rhodes' likability to make it a through line for the film. They describe the film as a family adventure film that becomes an epic sci-fi war movie, coming of age story. They set the film in other parts of Turkey for filming, some other countries, I guess. At the beginning of March, T.J. Harris, Tip Harris, was revealed to be not to be returning as his character Dave from the first two Ant-Man films. The news came after sexual abuse against him and his wife arose at the end of February, which I don't know if that's true or not, but they were never set to return for the sequel. And neither was Lewis, sadly. I did miss his character. In early 2021, Marvel Studios announced that the film would be released in February. Yeah, Michael Pena does not come back as Lewis. I think the character's name was Lewis in the first Ant-Man movie. Yeah, but again, he was working on Secret Headquarters with Owen Wilson. So yeah, playing the villain in that movie. So he probably didn't get to do this movie. That's why. Yeah, and I would definitely watch this over Secret Headquarters, but that's just me. In July, Jonah Robertson at Vanity Fair. Before that, of course, it's Corey Stoll, spoiler alert, portrayed Darren Cross, aka Yellow Jacket, would appear in some shape or form. Quantumania will come back. After his cameos in the previous two films were cut from the theatrical release, however, he would have featured a cut before it was filmed. So film began on July 26, 2021 at Pinewood Studios and Buckinghamshire, using the word title Dust Bunny. With Bill Harper serving as cinematographer, Digital Light Magic provided the same visual effects for the movie, reused while directing episodes of the Disney Plus Star Wars series, The Mandalorian. Will Haiti served as a photographer, set to begin in January 2021, but was postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It was then expected to take place between May 31st and September 24th. By September 16th, over 50 crew members from the Pinewood Studios, mainly Quantumania and Indiana Jones Style Destiny, contracted notorious following an outbreak at the studio. The main cast was not affected. The film release was released due to July 28th, 2023. Bill Murray revealed that he had shot material for a Marvel film with Reed. Murray explained that he joined the project as he liked Reed and worked with him on Bring It On, and his work on Bring It On, despite not being interested in superhero films. Prohibited for the further indicated involvement in the film, but he said he would not comment on the prior statement. Murray said he was playing a bad guy in the film. During the film process, the pursuing plays reportedly still being worked at the same time, involving Murray. Later being scrapped and resulting his character dying. Photography began on November 2021. Filming was also expected to take place in Atlanta, Georgia, and production was slated to move to San Francisco in 2022. The film was moved back to its February 17th release date, swapping places with the Marvels, because Quantumania is further along in production in that film. Randall Park was confirmed to be returning his role as Jimmy Woo. Reach got the film as a direct line into Phase 5 and for Phase 6, when Majors attached to describe his role in the Kang Destiny. Reach said that Quantumania would have a profound impact on the MCU. Impact of the Kang's appearance in this film was discussed with Loveliness of the Kang Dynasty. Loveliness felt that Kang as a movie villain Quantumania would set up the dynamic story he was developing for the character, the Kang Dynasty. Marvel Studios was not. And she was planning to have the multi-verse saga. Phases 4, 5, and 6 revolved around Kang. After seeing major performance in the first season of Loki and filming Quantumania. Reed also hoped not to be viewed as a plot cleanser. The previous two films have been following Avengers films, but were still felt as a bigger Avengers film. The film's credit scene was endorsed in the Council of Kings. This leads to hundreds of other kings filling in their arena. Yeah, I guess it was from the comics. Okay. The film's main end title sequence was designed by for addition. The visuals of Quantumania using fluid motion capture. Visual effects were done by Sony Pictures Images Animation and Digital Light Magic worked on this film. ILM, Digital Domain, Moving Picture Company. Due to the shifting release schedule of the film, the post-production period for Quantumania was reduced by 4.5 months. Several visual effects companies that worked on Quantumania were also in post-production on Black Panther: Wakanda Forever around the same time. Disney spent $194.7 million in pre-production and filming, an additional $131 million on post-production. Christopher Peck was revealed to be composing the film score for the movie, he as well as the MCU series like WandaVision and Hawkeye. Yeah. When I sung that love song, Welcome Back, there is a song in here. Sorry. Oh, additional music. Yeah, two additional songs, like I said, Welcome Back by John Sebastian. That's why I sung that in the beginning. That's in here. And for the marketing of the movie, the first part of the film was shown at San Diego Comic Con. I do remember the trailer, the teaser, and the trailers and stuff for the movie. I think Paul Rudd did a few commercials and stuff. I'm sure they did something for yeah, probably college football. I mean football. Whatever you want to call it. Yes, I know what football is, but they do like like when they have championship football games, they do commercials and stuff for movies sometimes. Super Bowl commercials for movies. But Ant Man and the Wasp. Let's see. IHOP did something for the movie. They had a commercial for the film. As you can see, uh, the characters in their costumes, but IHOP kind of marketing, which isn't the best way to do it. I mean, at least Black Panther will come from McDonald's. McDonald's is more of a, I think, big marketing tool for movies when you're talking about. But IHOP did some stuff for the movie, getting tickets and stuff to go see the movie. Like I said, Paul Rudd did a few commercials for the film. It was called, what was it called again? Commercial. Oh yeah, Super Bowl, like I mentioned. For Hankinen, a drink or whatever. Paul Rudd did a few commercials for the movie just to help market the film. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I basically just like I said, remember the trailers and when I went to Disneyland in 2023, I do remember seeing the awesome poster for the film. It was non-alcoholic beer that Hankinen they used a part of. Yeah. And like I said, Paul Rudd did a few commercials. So, but for the cat, yeah, the film did get mixed reviews from critics. It was a box office disappointment. Yeah, considered one. But for the cast of the movie, let's see. I just want to read the description really quick. Sorry. Finances gave it a B. Richard Rober gave it 3 out of 4 stars, saying it's a mid-tier MCU film. Decent enough battle suits and some nifty visual effects. Yeah, I can maybe why I understand. I think I can understand why people are mixing on this movie. But anyway, for the cast, you have Paul Rudd coming, Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, Ant-Man, an Avenger and a former petty criminal. The suit allows him to shrink or grow in scale, increasing in his strength. Yeah, Paul Rudd, y'all probably known him in long movies. I think first movie he ever did was like Halloween. Well, actually, it was no first movie he was in was Clueless with Alicia Silverstone in 1995. Halloween 6, Curse of Michael Myers. He was in that. And I guess the producer's cut, whatever. The affections here. And he's done some comedies like with the 40-year-old version, Anchorman Legend of Ron Burgundy. Yeah. Now at the museum. The first one, he was in that. Oh yeah, I remember him in that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. How do you know working with Jack Nicholson, Owen Wilson, and Reese Witherspoon? in that movie. I think that was Jack Nicholson's last movie. How do I know? Anyway, he's been doing these movies since the first Ant-Man movie in 2015, along with Captain America: Civil War. He was in that. And of course, Avengers: Infinity War. Well, sorry, no, he wasn't in Infinity War, but Ant-Man the Wasp came out the same year as that though. But he was making that movie. And of course, he was in Avengers Endgame and restoring his work for this film. Sausage Party, he did a voice for that. Yeah, and like I said, Endgame, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, where he played himself. I need to see that movie. I heard that was good. Teenage Mutant Turtles: Mutant Mayhem, Monaco. Yeah, I don't care for that film. Anyway, the Ghostbusters Afterlife, Frozen, Empire, which I don't really care about. The Anaconda remake he's doing. He's also coming back as Scott Lang in Avengers Doomsday. Avengers Doomsday. Avengers Doomsday, which I really don't care to see. That's just me. The new Evelyn Lilly coming back as Hope Van Dyne, Wasp, the daughter of Hank and Janet Van Dyne, who is handed down a similar suit in the Wasp mantle from her mother. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, okay. This is a picture from her 2023. Hopefully her hair looks a little better now. Beautiful woman. Oh, she played a police officer in the Lizzie McGuire movie. School student, Freddy vs. Jason, White Chicks, the 2004 movie. This party, yes. Basically, I think Real Steel was the first movie I seen her in. With the, I think that was with the Wolverine himself, Hugh Jackman. Yeah, yeah, and of course she was in the first Ant-Man movie, Ant-Man the Wasp, Avengers Endgame. I don't think she'll be coming back for Avengers Doomsday. Jonathan Majors, King Conqueror, a time-traveling multiverse adversary trapped in quantum realm who needs Pym particles to get his ship and a device only that will allow him to go anywhere in time. I don't know about too much of the character in the comics, so I'll admit that. But he's just really a pretty cool villain. But yeah, Jonathan Majors. Don't care if he's a good actor. Don't care to see Creed 3, but yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I heard that. Yeah. So he's a woman beater. Yeah, I believe it. Yeah. Come on, the woman. I mean, the fucker beat up a woman. God's sake, he beat up a woman. And how did she get those scars then? Oh, he didn't do it. Sure. And then strangled the woman. Yeah. Yeah. So he's probably an asshole in real life anyway. I like Cam Cover in this movie. I just wish he wasn't played by Jonathan Majors. Anyway, Catherine Newton as Cassie Lang, Scott Lang's 18-year-old daughter, who acquires a suit similar to her father, which I think is really cool. She doesn't get a nickname though; they should give her a name. But I like this actress; she's very cute. In the first movie I saw her in, not wasn't this was actually a movie called Freaky with Vince Vaughn. I have my issues with that movie, but she was really good in Pokemon Ted Pikachu. I think I liked her in that as well. It's probably that. No, I'm sorry, that was probably the first movie. I haven't seen that movie in a while. Okay, it's been a couple years, but I do like her as an actress though. I would like to see her come back as Cassie in Avengers Doomsday. Probably won't happen, but it'd be cool. She did a good job. David Demeshki as Vibe, a slim-like creature that lives in the quantum realm, who can make anyone understand quantum language. Viv was a pretty cool character. Oh, okay, yeah, he was in the first Ant-Man movie, right? Well, he was in The Dark Knight, of course, playing the guy that Two-Face tortures because he wants to know, not Two-Face, but Harvey Dent, slipping his coin, trying to torture him for information about the Joker. He's worked with DC before. He also was in the first Ant-Man movies as Kirk, one of Scott's best friends. He was in Blade Runner 2049, The Suicide Squad, and in Batman Long Halloween Part 1 and Part 2, he voiced Julian Day at the Calendar. He also voiced the Penguin as well. Yeah, and he was in this movie. Vibe was a pretty cool character. And Batman Doom came in Justice League Part 2, RBY, which I have not seen yet. The Flash. He voiced the Flash and Barry Allen. He also voiced. Oh, the same year, though, was also Batman Doom that came to Gotham. He voiced a character named Grindon in it. Yeah. And he was in the episode of Gotham as well. I think a few episodes of Gotham. So he's worked with DC and Marvel. And like I said, the Suicide Squad from 2021. And Kaylin O'Brien, yeah, O'Brien as Generate, the human shaped leader of the Freedom Fighters. Thought she was good. She was in Black Lightning, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. working with Marvel, and Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. And the Twisters movie, which is a sequel to Twister, which I sure don't care to see. She's gonna be in the Running Man remake, reboot, whatever. Call it what you will, but it is a remake. I don't care what people say. William Jackson Hopper as Quaz, a telepath who lives in the quantum realm. Good actor. Thought he was real good in the film. Can't say I've seen him in other movies. Sorry. And Bill Murray as Lord Clore, the human shaped governor of the lavish community in the quantum realm. Bill Murray, y'all probably know him from like SNL back in the 70s. Caddyshack, Meatballs, Scrooge, Groundhog Day, the Ghostbusters movies, and Groundhog Day. Yeah. And Osmosis Jones. He's a great actor. Despite that, though, I've heard things about Bill Murray. And he's worked with Disney before, since this film is technically owned by Disney. He voiced Baloo in the Jungle Book remake from 2016. The only Jungle Book remake. And Michelle Pfeiffer as Janet Van Dyne Wasp, Pam's wife. She was also in Quantum Mom for 30 years. Michelle Pfeiffer, great actress. Still beautiful. I liked her movies like Deep in the End of the Ocean or whatever. I forget what that film was called. Sorry. Yeah. And the Fabulous Baker Boys. Batman Returns. DC. She was, of course, we should know her as Selena Kyle, aka Catwoman. If I can speak in this video. The Prince of Egypt. Yeah, Hairspray. Married to the Mob. She's done a lot of movies, but she's a great actress as well. Corey, oh, Corey Stoll as Darren Cross, Modak. Yes, from the first movie when he played Yellow Jacket. Yeah, yeah. And Michael Douglas comes back as Dr. Hank Pym, aka Ant-Man, a former SHIELD agent, a scientist who became the original Ant-Man after creating the suit. Michael Douglas, you'll probably know him from a lot of movies too, like Romancing the Stone, The Jewel of the Nile, Fatal Attraction with Glenn Close, Falling Down. Love that movie. It's probably my favorite movie of his. Yeah, Black Rain, which is real good. Yeah. Randall Park briefly expresses the role of as Jimmy Woo from the first movie, but just briefly, like a 10-second cameo, basically. Ruben Westbrook appears as a coffee shop attendant who mistakes Ant-Man for Spider-Man. He was in Jack and Jill, the 2011 movie, The Lost City, Delma, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., he was in that. Also, you have Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson, who have cameos, because Owen Wilson is in the DC Plus show, and spoiler alert, Tom Hiddleston just has a cameo at the end. There's going to be spoilers in this review, so before you watch this review, well, you'll see that. You guys should know that already. The film was directed by Peyton Reed. Of course, he directed the first film, the first two movies. He also directed Bring It On, Down Love, The Breakup, Yes Man with Jim Carrey, which I like that movie. Yeah. I worked on Back to the Future TV series, some television series. I like The Mandalorian. It was also written by Jeff Loveness. He worked on some television series like Jimmy Kimmel Live and Rick and Morty. So apparently he's never wrote a movie before. Well, he did work on Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, I guess. That came out the same year as this, but that wasn't until June. It's based on Marvel Comics. Produced by Kevin Feige, who's been producing these movies, been working on Marvel since, like, he's worked on the first X-Men movie. I don't think he worked on Blade, I don't know. But he's been president of Marvel with the MCU for a long time. Marvel Studios since the first Iron Man film. Okay, yeah, just the first since the first X-Men movie and Spider-Man 1 and 2, Daredevil with Ben Affleck, X2 from the X-Men movies, the two Fantastic Four movies from the 2000s, I think. Yeah, and some of the Marvel animated movies as well. Animated feature films, sorry. Cinematography is by Bill Pope. Let's see, okay, Stephen Borsod, who's I guess I can't say his name right. Bill Pope does the cinematography. He did cinematography for Darkman, which is another superhero film that came out in 1990 though. Blank Check, Clueless, The Matrix Reloaded, the first Matrix film, Bedazzled, the remake starring Brendan Fraser and Elizabeth Hurley, and also directed by Harold Ramis. Men in Black 3, Baby Driver, Shang-Chi and Legend of the Ten Rings, another Marvel film. Yeah. Edited by Adam Curtis, Laura Jennings, music by Christopher Beck. Done music score for like The Muppets 2000 from 2011, The Muppets was one, The Frozen 1 and 2, and the first two Ant-Man movies as well. And it comes back to and Free Guy, uh, action comedy film starring Ryan Reynolds. Production company Marvel Studios, distributed by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. It was released February 17th, 2023 in the US. It's 124 minutes long. Or, well, my DVD Blu-ray is 125 minutes, but the film is about 2 hours and 5 minutes long, including the both in-credit scenes, post-credit scenes. Budget is, or the net or gross of it is, yeah, let's see. It was either $388.4 million or $330.1 million. It was considered a box office disappointment and become one of the films used not to break even. So I don't think the film was a complete flop. I guess it was considered a box office disappointment because the film didn't make a whole bunch of money. Maybe just didn't really make much back on the budget. So that probably we don't need Ant Man for. Yeah, I don't want to see one. It's probably not gonna happen because this film did not break even at the box office. Yeah, just like they're not gonna make another Thor movie because Thor: Love and Thunder I don't think did too well. Neither did this film. Yeah. And Eternals did. I think that's for me. That the only big office bomb to me from Marvel film is the Eternals. I still would say that is the worst MCU film in this franchise. Anyway, yeah. So I'm gonna talk about the plot synopsis of what the movie is about. Sorry. All right. I'm gonna talk about the plot synopsis of this movie. So there are gonna be spoilers. So if you have not seen Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, if you have not seen this film, turn the review over right now for your own good, so you don't spoil it for yourself. Because there's gonna be spoilers in this review, all spoiler free. Not non-spoiler, a spoiler review. So you've been warned. Okay? That's why I tell you guys this, not to be mean. I don't, it's not like I'm saying I don't want you to watch the movie. I just don't want you to watch it if you haven't seen the movie. Watch the movie, then come back and watch the review, okay? Anytime you want to. Also, you can put it on your watch later list. You know, I'd rather people do that anyway. I do that sometimes because if I don't want to see any spoilers for a movie from somebody's channel, I'll just add it to my watch later list. That way, if I see the movie sometime in the future, I can watch the review then and not have to spoil it or kill it. Or if I just don't give a crap about see the movie, then I'll watch it. But anyway, it's up to you guys, but it's your choice. Anyway, what the movie's about, the movie does take place events after Avengers Endgame, probably a couple years after Avengers Endgame. We have Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne, along with Hope's parents. You know, years later, Scott is announced as a hero, as Ant-Man, of course, for saving people after the blip, after defeating Thanos with the Avengers, after fighting with Iron Man. He's claimed a hero. He enjoys the fame. Hope, she has like a little business now. I don't like her hair in this movie. It's the worst I've seen it. I think my favorite part of her in the movie is probably the first one or the second one. Well, I like her hair in those two movies. Just to me, a woman having short hair, kind of like I'm having short hair, that's just unusual to me. I'm sorry, say that in a weird way. Hopefully, no lady watching this gets offended, but I like girls with longer hair. It just makes sense to have them long hair because their hair can be very beautiful and pretty. It makes them look very beautiful, like that, you know. Yeah. When you have a hair like a guy, it's just a little weird to me. But that's just me. I'm not trying to offend anybody. But anyway, she's still a beautiful woman regardless. So I'm not completely complaining, okay? And, meanwhile, dealing with his daughter, Cassie, who gets her own trouble affair with the law. And then, of course, Hank and Janet, who are joined their company. But one day, when Cassie sends a signal out to the quantum realm, eventually they get trapped in the quantum realm. They get sucked into it by this machine, and they split up. And what they have to do is find each other. But meanwhile, they have to deal with a new villain, with a new threat that's going to push their limits and pit them against. They have to deal with a madman called Kang the Conqueror, he's trapped in the quantum realm. He wants to get out. Yeah, he's killed trillions of people in the years. He wants to get out. He wants to conquer. That's why they call him Kang Conqueror. And he kidnaps Cassie. So Ant Man the Wasp, along with the help from Cassie, wearing her new cool suit, along with the help of with Janet and Hank, they must all team up, and along with the army of you want to call it the Revolutionary or the Resistance, I'll call them Resistance. They have to team up with them. They have to team up. They have to fight, and they have to go up against Kang the Conqueror, and they have to defeat him and stop him before he conquers and kills more people. So they have to go up against him. They have to take him down, and they have to defeat him, and they have to get the quantum realm, get back to their lives. They have to get out of it alive. So yeah, there's it's a story for you with this movie. All right. Did I miss anything else? Nope. All right. Now I'm gonna talk soon. Here I'm gonna talk about the movie. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the film itself. Again, if you've not seen Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumania, please turn the review off for your own good. Put it to your watch later list. If the video's too long, you watch this video any other time. It's not like it's required. It's a requirement. I don't force anybody to watch my videos. And again, if you hate the movie, that's fine to each his own. But I will say my problems with the movie eventually. But I'm just gonna talk about the movie itself. And then I'm gonna give you my final thoughts and opinion on it at the end of this video, okay? So here we go. In 30 minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So the movie opens up with the Marvel logo, of course. Um, should know about with characters and right, dun, 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 which I've seen many times in a Marvel movie. So you expect with a Marvel film, with an MCU film. We see Janet. She's trapped in the quantum realm. This is probably like I'm thinking in her early years because she was trapped there for 30 years, um, being there, and she sees what's happening. She has like a weapon. She has weapons to protect herself. After in the first movie, she got trapped there when her and Hank, I guess in the 80s or 90s, probably 80s, were trying to save a missile, but he got like trapped. Well, she got trapped. Trying to jump in there. She got trapped in quantum realm, and she's been there for quite some time. These are like maybe her early years. She sees what's going on. She almost gets attacked by these creatures. Then this guy shoots has like the guy in the military, and it's Kang the Conqueror, who she doesn't know yet. But then the film opens up with "Welcome back." We see Ant Man, who's new life. Scott Lang. Saying, narrating. He's pleased by people. People are like fans of him. They have like Ant Man shirts. He's Scott's wrote a book. He's become famous, and he enjoys life. He gets Hope has her little business going. Has a business going on, and of course they're in a relationship now. Sometimes they hang out, as you can see here. So life is pretty good for him. Enjoying that fame, bringing his book to children, with kids, having like an Ant Man toys or whatever, or going to Baskin Robbins, which he got fired from because he's criminal, but shaking his former boss, and he's like, okay, that's enough. Shake his hand, which is funny. Yeah, Scott's just enjoying life, you know. But he gets a phone call, and apparently Cassie, played by Catherine Newton, I think that's her name. Sorry, yeah, Catherine Newton. She got in trouble. She apparently, but she was trying to help some people out, but she's been doing stuff that's maybe illegal. She's been thrown in jail herself, like her dad. She shrank the police car. Her dad's like, you know, do about it. He's like, come on, dad. You know what's the right thing to do. And they argue, and they get this little pizza, but they ever use the shrink to the Hank Pym technology to make it a larger pizza. And he says, well, our life's been great, Scott. You've been getting fame. I was like, okay, guys, you poked me that bad. Is that enough? You know, and he says, well, what we've been doing is like, have you three been doing stuff behind my back? I was like, let's show them, you know. And Janet, even though she's been there for 30 years, she refuses to talk about it. You know, Hope tries to ask her many times. And, well, she's been arrested to do her protest. Yeah. So I can see her heart's in the right place. She's like her dad. She wants to do the right thing. She just has a good heart, but there's things sometimes she maybe shouldn't do. But she's a kid, she sees the right thing. When she sees something that's done wrong, that's what I like about Cassie. She wants to fix it, or help somebody. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And she does accuse Scott of being. Maybe she's right. Scott has been enjoying his time of fame. That's got to do his head, as you can say. And you know, because the quantum realm, it's like the space and time. There is no time there. It's a different universe, but it's under our universe, basically under the Earth almost. And she wants to build this. She's got this machine to send a signal. And Michelle Pfeiffer's like, Jan's like, don't do that. Turn it off right now. Turn it off right now. And she does turn it off. But it's too late. They send the signal out. Somebody does get it. Signal. It's a Quantumania satellite sending a message, and she's like, don't. Janice like freaks out, saying, don't do that. But however, the device ends up imploding, and it sucks all five of them. Janet, Hope gets her suit on, and if you want to say Ant-Man's not enough in this movie, well, they do wear these suits for like the entire movie. Yeah, as soon as they're in the quantum world, he's wearing a suit the entire film. So I don't want to hear you don't see no Ant-Man in this movie. He's wearing this. They're wearing their suits the entire film, basically. Well, not in the beginning, but much. But they do wear their suits. Yeah. Scott tries it, and some people will complain about the CGI, but I like some of the CGI. Some of the visual effects are nice. Done by Alan Lim and some other people, and I do like some of that though. Uh, in my opinion, when you see Scott falling in the corner, I thought those were visual effects. I don't know why people complain saying their Marvel films have bad CGI. Not all of them do. Some of them have really beautiful visual effects, some good CGI. In my opinion, you know, would I say I prefer practical effects? Yes, heck yes. Mhm. But CGI cannot be all that bad either. Not all of it is, in my opinion. But there is one moment of CGI I'll get to, which I think is real bad. We'll get to that soon. So they get trapped there. Scott and Cassie end up somewhere, and Hope and Janet and Hank they get trapped. They get separated in the quantum realm. They land in a completely different port. Yeah. But as they're falling, Scott has his Ant Man suit. He gets Ant Man suit and he grows and lowers his large size. But again, like in Ant Man the Wasp, it's really awesome when he turns. Well, is there a picture? No, sorry, no picture of it. But still, and he grabs Cassie. Cassie, he falls to the ground, but he saves her from dying. It's like, thanks, Dad. Gets his suit on. It's like, Dad, come on. It's like, what am I do here? Oh my God, we don't know where they know they need to find them. They run into this tribe of people. Yeah, they run into these freedom fighters. First, they think they're a threat. They need to kill them, but one guy can read their mind, and he's reading Scott's mind. He's like, okay, stop thinking that. Stop thinking that. First, they had to, they had to make them drink the ooze, drink the ooze, drink the ooze, and Vib, who was voiced by the actor I mentioned earlier, he was real good. His character, I think, looked good in CGI. I thought it was He's like, you need me by my hand? I was like, no, no, I can understand. And the woman leader, the woman who leads, I thought she was good. They mentioned Janet, like Janet Van Dyne. You know Janet? Yeah. I'm like, does everybody know her down there? Scott. Scott says that to Kango later. I'm like, Scott, she's been down for 30 years. Everybody probably knows who she is. She's been there 30 years is a pretty long time. So I think people have known her well enough. Yeah. But meanwhile, you have, you know, Janet telling Hank and Hope to stay still. That this thing is like, just for them was like, keep her voice down. And the way the Quantumania looks, it's very beautiful. I think the visual effects look nice in the film. But she says we have to find Scott and Cassie. She says she might know somebody to help them out. They see one guy that has like a broccoli kind of head, which I thought, she tries to flirt with. I mean, not Jen. Well, so I drank this, they drank this ooze, and it makes them understand what they're saying. And then, yeah, they have to go to this shot. Then they get, the freedom fighters then get under attack by the guard, by this guard, and who mainly works for Kang. That is Modok. Again, having Darren Crisis coming back as, I mean, whatever the freaking name is, the actor who played him. Corey Stoll coming back as Darren, and then he comes back as Mona. The CGI, the CGI here, oh my god, the CGI is awful. And this character annoyed me. Why do we need this character in this movie again? Because the writer says we need it. Apparently, the guy that wrote this movie is not the best writer in the world because he wrote some TV shows and Jimmy Kimmel Live, so he's not really written a future live action theatrical film. So seems like the writer of this film didn't really know what he was doing much. Yeah. Anyway, the freedom fighters get attacked. They're trying to bait them out. Cassie wants to help them, but Scott tells her no. My important thing, my number one priority is getting you out of here. And she's like, yeah, we need to help them. And the guy that can read the most, like, she's disappointed in you. It's like, oh, yeah, I can tell that. Thank you. But they get attacked by Modoc, he's like, hello, Scott. And but when he puts his mask on, it's cool. But when he takes it off, he sees his face, like, all CGI. Why can't just Modoc be a different kind of character? Who cares? Honestly, I didn't care about Darren. I didn't care about Yellow Jacket, whatever, in the first movie. He was probably one of the worst MCU villains, in my opinion. So, because he got deformed because you remember he's fighting when he tried to kidnap Cassie in a room and him and Scott fought. Scott, shrinked, ruined his suit, and got him trapped in the quantum realm. So he has to use the hover chair as well because Kang found him. But meanwhile, they go visit Kraft. Who's Bill Murray? From Ghostbusters. Bill Murray, yeah. Groundhog Day, Scrooge, all that. Great actor, but Bill Murray, all right in here. He's like, Henry, it's nice to meet you, Henry. And he's like, oh, well, if I had kids, I would tell some of the stories are pretty terrifying. And you find out that actually that he works with Kang or serves him, but you can say he probably does that out of fear. And I guess his character dies because you know Hank throws one of the little equipment, little dices that can these little discs that they can shrink things. It shrinks this monster up high that he drinks or eat the monster, and that squid, the giant squid, the little tiny squid becomes a giant squid, and he simply kills Bill Murray's character. But Bill Murray's just in here for like what 10, 15 something minutes. Not in this movie very long at all. But I can definitely tell Bill Murray probably just did this for a paycheck. Yeah, I've heard things about Bill Murray behind the scenes in movies. You know, that he can be an asshole sometimes, I guess. But it feels like in this movie he was just doing it for the check. You know. And yeah, he probably got paid pretty good to do this movie, I bet. But Jen explained, well, they get out of there. Hope has her suit, which is cool. She fights a little bit. And again, I liked her suit. I didn't mind it being yellow. The Master School, she fights all of them a bit. Yeah. So shoot some of them down, you know, in arm with it. But Scott gets arrested. Him and the Resistance, they get captured, and Scott eventually meets Scott meets Kang, and he's like, "This is my fourth time being jumped, fourth time, just trying to be funny." And he's like, "You're an interesting man, Scott Lang." He's like, but he needs him there. Janet does explain to him that Hope and Hank that she did meet Kang the Conqueror. He was also a scientist trapped there. That there's this time sphere on his ship that he has that he needs to fix. It took them a good while. First, he confronts, he tells her about her jelly bean, what she calls Hope. She gets personal with him. They become like good friends. Janet is helping them. They almost got the time sphere ready. She touches the ship though and finds out who he really is. He's Kang the Conqueror. You know, like you see in the comics with the blue mask on and stuff. That he's killed trillions of life and killed millions of resistant people. He's killed a lot. He's basically a psychopathic murderer. And he's like, Janet, give me the time sphere, and she destroys it, and it traps him there. But he makes this prison. He wasn't trapped there. He was exiled because whoever exiled him here knew he was insane, that he's a monster basically, that he's a psychopath, and they trapped him there. But he made his prison to his empire, like his kingdom, so he'd roll over the Quantumania. And he knows they're there already. He's coming out. That's why he's sending people after her. Yeah. I forgot to mention they take a ride with this nice creature or whatever, which I think looked in CGI. You know. But anyway, we're back to Woods. After she tells him that, Bubba's like, well, you're not alone anymore, Mom, I love you. You're not alone anymore. They hug out, have a nice family moment. And like I said, Scott and Cassie, they're trapped in that prison. They meet Kang the Conqueror. Yeah. But he wants Scott to go into this. Yeah, sorry. He wants Scott to go into this land, into the time sphere. It's like a big place, like a big roundable place, like a big circle. He's like, you're gonna go in there for me. Then if you want to go home, I'll send you home. You just have to do one thing for me. And this guy's like refuses, and then he uses the power. I'm like, he's very powerful. He kind of has the force or whatever. I tell you, he needs his powers. He's like, you're going to do this for me. I'm gonna crush you. And he like gets ready to kill Cass. He's like, you think I'm kidding? I'm gonna kill her. And you just tell Kang means business. Kang does not give a crap to. You definitely tell he does not give a shit. He will kill Cassie in a heartbeat and not care. This guy's like, okay, I'll do it. He's like, what do you need me to do? And I like the way his men look in here. Well, his clones, basically. Whatever you want to call these characters. What they kind of look like in the movie. Or his minions or whatever. They look cool in CGI. You know. But again, even Modoc, as he calls himself, Darren, tries to have a talk with him. He's like, don't talk to me. I'm like, you know. So anyway, Modoc is able to, like, use computer. So that's like, she hugs him. Whereas his men try to, like, shoot at her, but he's like, can't show him, don't do it. You know. Yeah. But, so I was like, I love you, Peanut. I'm gonna get you out of here. That's when he jumps into this area he needs to get into. He can't contact Gary. He's like, and seeing yourself, you can, multiply yourself. You see, multiple versions of Ant-Man. Basically, these clones like coming out of his body. Like, you're me. No, you're not me. Even in Baskin Robbins, Scott is there too. I thought that was funny. Anytime they try to get close to there, they need to get the time where they get destroyed. Uh, this one big ant, big Scott Ant-Man tries to, shrink high and he dies and he becomes like spaghetti for instance. He like turns into spaghetti, a giant spaghetti when he gets crushed. And I thought that was some good visual effects in here. I'm not gonna lie, you know. And then when all the Ant-Man think about Cassie, they all get Scott up there, because he's trapped by all his clones of himself, and the Hulk can hear the signal. So she takes away the Wasp flies away to go save him. She gets these other Wasp versions of herself, and they focus. And Scott gets the time sphere, He's about to fall and die, but Wasp, you know, Hulk grabs him, says, "I got you," and she saves him out of there. And they meet up against Kang. And they see Janet who wants to. Taskforce like, "Give it to me." You can't trust him. You know, from the power. From the power core, whatever. Multiverse power core. Yeah. But he's like, "We made a deal. We had a deal, Kang. Give me my daughter back. She'll be fine with that." He was telling he needs his powers to grab it, and Ant-Man wants get ready to attack, but he like basically Kang just like flings them, like just does this with his hands and knocks them out pretty easily, and he kidnaps Janet. You know, incredible. She tries to run to him. He's like, "Nope, stop. Now you're coming with me." Sorry. Kang explains to her that he was exiled to the quantum realm because of the Council of Kings. And Cassie's able to, the minutes have him. She's able to. She has her own suit, like I said. She makes one of them big. Using the disc, it makes one of them little. Like kicks him to the side. Her and her dad fight the the King's minions a bit. So like jump and shoot, jump and shoot. So she remembers a little bit. She messes up like the first time, but the second time she kicks some ass and she's able to get out. She saves that woman, the resistance leader, and they have to get a message out. Why you know Hank and them. Hank meets up with Scott and Scott and Hope. They're okay. They're just tired out, but they have to get the ship to go save Kathy and save Janet and stop Kang. Yeah. He's becoming about these smart ants who have been contacting him since they were there at the quantum realm. Cassie interrupts Kang's, transmission as he's transmitting to everybody. He's like, "We're going to rule the world. We're going to do this." She's like, "You know you're tired of him. You can fight back." Yeah, like for the like my dad told me. Yeah, like for the little guy. Just stand up to him, fight back. We can do it. He's scared because he knows you're going to take him. You can do it. Yeah. And Scott's ready, especially for a fight. And Kang tells Marla to go kill Cassie. He has to go do that. She has to run from Kang gets run by Giant Man. Well, and he's got to become a Giant Man. He's like, "Dang, we had a deal. Our word is our bond." Mad. Getting shot up by his men and ships, and the ships are about to kill him. But then all the people, all the resistance show up to fight him. Viv, who doesn't have any holes in his body, finds out he has like, "I got holes. I got holes." And the big giant monster sucking up and literally eating Kang's minions, which I thought was awesome. Cassie's able to get the best of all of those. She eventually, fights them all. She becomes giant girl, as you can say. She becomes giant too. Now somebody's like, "Just don't." He's like, "I don't know what to be. Well, just don't be a dick. You can be an Avenger. You know, you know, got and whilst they're able to jump in there, they're able to destroy his shield. Kang comes to fight them. Well, Scott and Ant-Man, Ant-Man will try to fight him, but he's able to knock him out a couple times. They get a few hits in there, but he's really good at fighting. But eventually, all the other ants show up. Hank shows up with all the other ants, the smart ants. Every contact them, they ever get them to attack. Kang's able to use a shield, but thanks to Moda, who shows up to help him out, gets attacked and eventually killed for betraying Kang. And Kang, they're able to get Kang. Kang's like, they have to attack him. Yeah, but again, I thought with him being Giant Man, but when I saw Cassie and that, Cassie and Scott, like, "Cassie, you're huge." They give each other hugs. Like, "I know you're hungry. I know I know how it feels." They give each other hugs, but the visual effects for that I thought were real good. Yeah, but he made that shield formation was it. He's like, "Scott, I'm sorry you died." At least I won't be a dick anymore, Cassie. You were right. He's like, Scott, you've always been like brother to me. He's like touching Scott's face. He's like, hope you changed your hair. You know, I didn't really care for that. The music kind of reminded me of Wizard of Oz a little bit. I don't know, it just made me think of that. But when he died, I didn't care. I was like, whatever. Some of the humor doesn't work, and Darren was just annoying. Modoc, you know, yeah, really, yeah. And then they go to back in the ship or back in the palace or whatever, ship King's place or whatever, and they're gonna go back home out of Quantumania. You know, Janet's ever open the portal. Kang is the last one, but well, not Kang. Damn it, Ant Man's the last one. Kang wants to still get out, but can't let Kang go on Earth because what he'll do. And so he attacks Ant Man, and he's like, "We're gonna fight now." They break into a fight. He's like, "You should have listened to me. You could have gone home." And he's kicking him in the face, and he breaks his Ant Man mask, and he takes off his broken Ant Man mask. They fight more. And the great Scott's one. I mean, Scott gets blooded up pretty a bit, But until until Hope shows up, shooting those sparks at him, whatever you want to call it. It's like little fireworks that come out of her gauntlets or whatever, and she sparks out of it, which is really cool. But they fight King and they punch him to the time spiral. He gets sucked in by the power core. Him and Hope, they eventually team up, they beat him, and they, you know, you know, they punch him, they were knock him into the core, and he gets destroyed in the power core. He's like, he gets destroyed in the core. The power core gets destroyed for good. And she's like, you came back for me. And they hug each other, it's really chill with her. Like this, I love you, guys. I love you too. And of course, they go back home. And the freedom fighters are happy. And they also thank Cassie and them. Bob gives Cassie a hug, which I liked well before that. But anyway, they go back home. They go back home. Lane continues, of course, to be happy in his life. Just happy. Like, well, wait a minute. What if I did something wrong? What if something had happened? Nah, don't worry about that, which I thought was funny. Scott narrating in here, I thought was funny. And it seems like he's gotten better. He's taking his mind off family and focused more on family. And being Ant Man, of course, helping people out. He throws a fake birthday party to Cassie because he missed so many. And his boss made a cake, which he hasn't made in a couple of good years. And Scott eats the cake, like at birthday, he has it with an Ant Man cake. He says, oh, and then the movie ends there. And then believe that Kang has died. Then the Council of Kangs at the post-credit scene in the multiverse, they discuss the Avengers may have to be dealt with. They only touched on the February multiverse. They're even able to simply kill one of their own. Okay. 19th century though, Loki, along with Owen Wilson, they attend this play or whatever, saying the Victor Thomas Mobius is not worried about Loki is terrified. Realize who he remains. Kang. That's the post-credit scene. And that's Ant-Man the Lost Quantumania. Alright. Well, okay. Well, I'm nearly done with it. Let me just get my final thoughts, folks, and I will be done with this review, okay? So let me get my final thoughts real quick, and I'll be done. I don't have time to read quotes. Let me get my sorry. Let me get my final thoughts on this film, okay, guys? I loved Ant-Man and the Quantumania. I did enjoy this movie. Yes. Before I get to my problems, though, what do I like about this movie? I like the story. I like the idea that they go to the Quantumania. I like the cast. I think the cast here did good. Not Jonathan Majors though. Well, first of all, who I like, of course, I liked Paul Rudd and Scott Lang. Man, I thought he was great. He was great with one. And Living Lily coming back as Hope and Dinah. I thought Peyton Reed did a good job directing. The writing, I think, is pretty decent here. Some of it is good. I do think some of the writing is good in this film, just in my opinion. Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, Ant Man, Evan Lilly as Wasp. Come back as Hope. Sorry, Michelle Pfeiffer, Michael Rodriguez. So was Catherine Newton. She did a great job. I thought she's my favorite character in here. She did a really good job in this film. She's a very good actress. I liked her in Freaky with Vince Vaughn, that horror movie that was like, what was it miss like with it's like Freaky Friday meets Scream with that movie But that was a good movie. She gave a great performance in there. She gave a great performance in here too. You know, the writing, directing, I thought was the cinematography is nice. I like the way the film looks. Music scores there was I do like this song. Welcome back. You know, the action scenes are well shot. I think the visual effects I think are good for the most part. Some of the characters, some of the resistance looks like the Viv character. I thought he looked good. Marvel has done some good visual effects, folks. I don't think their CGI is that bad. Some people make it out to be. Isn't you know? There's like a one character. But before I get to the problems, I'm talking about the positives. Music score is pretty decent. Yeah, yeah. And the film is over 2 hours and 5 minutes long. That includes the two trailer scenes. But again, for being 125 minutes long, excuse me, it didn't feel that long. But the visual effects are very nice to look at. The main cast here, the main characters, our main characters, damn it, are real good. And some of the CGI in the film is good. Some of the visual effects are nice in here. Not every one of them, but like the guy that had the broccoli head, or the way that one character looks with the orange head or whatever. You know, and Kang's minions, they do look good on screen. They're yeah, the you know they're like blue heads or whatever, look really good. I think some of the visual effects are nice in there. Quantumania looks really beautiful in the visual effects, and the action scenes are good. The story is good. You know, all right. The cast is good. The visual effects, the directing and writing. The writing could have been a bit stronger. Now my problem is, now here are my issues. Some of the CGI is not good in the film. Like I didn't care for Darren Forrester coming back as Modoc. I thought he was annoying. When he died, I didn't care. Sometimes the humor in the movie does work sometimes. Like with Catherine Newton when Cassie's trying to figure out how to open the door, save the resistance leader lady. She's trying to like save her. So I can't open the door. I'm like, and then running them out. Or her and Scar like, well, we do this and that. I thought it was funny. But Darren, I didn't find funny. The CGI for him was awful. Like it looked awful. It was shit. It was terrible. It was awful. Yes, it was shit. It was awful. I didn't care about the character of Bat. When he died, I didn't care. I didn't find it funny. They're trying to make it funny when he died. I'm like, I didn't care for this character at all. I didn't care for Modoc. Why couldn't we just have Modoc be a guy in a mask and that's it? It doesn't have to be the same actor. It could be a different actor. Yeah. And I did miss Lewis. I missed Michael Payne in here, but he didn't. He was working on that crappy movie, Secret Headquarters with Rowan Wilson, so much. And he could have been in this movie, which I missed him, and I missed, yeah, play Kirk and the other team members. I'd rather have him in here with the bus, dun, 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 that would be cool. With that truck that makes that noise, the van that they have. I wish those characters would have came back instead. You know, yeah. And some of the CGI, like I said, when I think about it, some of the CGI is not good. I didn't care for Bill Murray in here. I'm sorry. Bill Murray didn't care being super. You can just tell in here Bill Murray's just doing this for the paycheck. I feel like anytime he has a cameo in a movie, he's just probably doing it for the check. Yeah. Bill Murray probably didn't care about being in this movie. He just probably did it for a check. Not much of a performance from him in here. I didn't care for his performance. I'm sorry. It's just to me, Bill Murray was just doing this for a paycheck. He was not needed in this film. He didn't need Modoc. He didn't need Darren Modoc. Whatever the heck you want to call him. Yellow Jacket come back in here. I don't care. I didn't care about him in the first movie. So why would I care about him being? I didn't. I'm like, there was no need for this character to come back. There was no need for Bill Murray to have a cameo. So no need for him or Modoc. And Kang, you know what? Jonathan Majors is an asshole in real life. Because he's a woman, but he abuses women. I believe he did it. I hope he doesn't come back as Kang. I hope they fire him for good. Don't bring him back. Now, I like Kang the Conqueror as a villain. Kang was great. I'm not saying Jonathan Majors. Kang here. Kang. He was a good villain in this movie. I just wish he was played by a different actor. But I don't want to watch him. I'm not watching some Kang. If they do the Kang Dynasty show, that Dynasty, Destiny, Kang Dynasty show, I'll see it. But if it's Jonathan Majors, I am watching it. I really don't care to see a lot of the MCU shows. I might eventually, someday in my life, I'll watch those. But so far, I don't care to see Jonathan Majors come back. Jonathan Majors, I like the Kang character, but I just think he doesn't need to be in this movie. Yeah. Do I think he did a good job playing the character? Yes, but I want another actor playing him. Yeah. Kang is a great villain. He just needs to be better. The problem is he needs to play by a better actor. He's playing with other people. You could have had. And Chadwick Boseman was better as Black Panther. Chadwick Boseman was a good, nice person. I'm sure I didn't know Chadwick. I can't say that, but it seems to me he probably would. If he was still alive today, he probably would have continued being Black Panther, and he's a better actor. Heck, even though no, not Chadwick Boseman, but Michael B. Jordan is a lot better than King the Conqueror. Than Jonathan Majors as an actor, I think he did a great job in that. Like I said, Jonathan Majors did fine, but I'd rather have somebody else play King the Conqueror. But Kang was a great villain. I just wanted him played by a different actor. So anyway, enough on that. So it sounds like a broken record. I'm sorry. I do that sometimes. But anyway, yeah, some of the CGI, especially like with Modoc's face, the CGI is awful. Yeah, I don't know what they thought. Why the writer Jeff, what was his name? Jeff Loneliness, Loveliness, weird name, but Loveliness thought it was a good idea. And why would you have a guy write a movie this only has not really worked in film that much? Yeah, makes no sense. Marvel, you just hire somebody randomly. Oh, just if they didn't ever work in a movie, we'll just hire them anyway, just to write the scripts. No, Peyton Reed did a good job directing, and I felt like they didn't explore or go further into it. Yeah, okay, the movie's got the father son thing, like with Hook, but Hook I think is a better movie than this. Hook is a bit longer, yes, but Hook is a lot better. Jumanji is a lot better too. Yeah, you can say some of those like dated effects in it, but that movie was definitely better than Honey I Shrunk the Kids. They explored plenty of that. That was like an adventure film. This film could have been more of an adventure though, if we would explore more to it. Since I didn't like seeing the characters split up either. I hate seeing that for most of the movie. I felt like we didn't explore enough of the quantum realm. It should have been more explored. There's more terrifying things in there. I think you could do more with it. You know, explore more into that universe. It's like the movie. I've heard this with so much before, but it just feels like the film doesn't offer anything new. It feels like it goes by at a pretty good pace. It feels like it was a pretty fast pace to me. It gets to point A to point B, point C like really quickly. So feels like we didn't have enough time to explore the quantum realm because they want to focus on Kang's heart. You could have saved Kang though for another movie. I'm just saying. And I guess people were mixed up by the humor, or maybe they didn't feel like maybe some people approved it that they didn't further into it. Maybe some people the humor didn't work out for them. But the movie's good. It just I think needed to be better story wise. I think you could have done a lot more with it. There's a lot more with Ant Man and the story of Quantum Realm. You could have multiverse, which they don't go too much in the multiverse. They didn't need to go into that much. I've seen that with Spider-Man: No Way Home and Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. I don't, they mention the multiverse, but we don't need to get into it deeply. We've already had enough of that. Enough of multiverse. Just the quantum realm. Focus on that. Give me a different kind of villain. Just explore that. Kang, maybe you could have mentioned Kang at the end of the movie, not played by Jonathan Majors, but by a different actor. I didn't care about the post-credit scenes at the end. They didn't do anything for me. I didn't care about Jonathan Majors and all the other Kangs from the other versions, million versions of him. Some of the CGI for the ants in the movie look awful as well, in my opinion. And some of the CGI in the second movie, well, I like the CGI in the second movie. To me, the best CGI in the Ant-Man trilogy is the first Ant-Man movie that had the best CGI ever, I think, in the Ant-Man film. Yeah. But some of the CGI, some of the visual effects are beautiful. Like I said, the main cast here, Kevin, they do really good. It's just a movie I think that needs a bit more work on the story. Just in my opinion. That's why the film I don't think didn't break even, didn't was considered a box office disappointment. It didn't made money, but I don't think it made a whole lot. And again, Ant Man's coming back, but I doubt we'll get another Ant Man movie. Please don't, because I don't want another Thor: Love and Thunder type movie. Okay, I have a feeling that if they make another Ant Man movie, it will suck. So no more Ant Man movies after this. Let this be the last one. Just have the character and other MCU stuff, or heck, give Catherine Newton her own TV series. I'd like to see that maybe. Yeah, you know, but I doubt that'll happen. These Marvel movies. Maybe people are just getting tired of the MCU, which I can understand because after Avengers Endgame, everything from Marvel is not that great anymore as it was. It's just Marvel. Maybe you need to stop, and of course, they're not going to. They're going to keep going. But if your films start flopping, eventually, yeah. Because like I think with Eternals especially, and Shang-Chi, which I think, and Black Widow, which I think sucked. Those are awful to me, terrible ones. And so was Thor: Love and Thunder. Those are only MCU movies and Eternals. If I mentioned some, sorry. Yeah, but this one was good. But I do think the previous two movies are better. Yeah, this is my least favorite one because I don't feel like they explored into the story enough. This is why it's my least favorite. I think they didn't handle the story very good in this film. Yeah, it should have been better, but it's still a good movie regardless. It's still good. It's just the problems bring it down for me a bit. But I'm still gonna say this cast, the main cast here is great. I don't blame Marvel or I don't blame Paul Rudd. I don't blame any cast members for what Jonathan Majors did. He did that on his own accord. He's a grown man. He knew what he would do was wrong. He lost his temper on a woman. He hit a woman. He shouldn't have done that. Whatever the hell he did, he brought it upon himself. It's not. Don't hate the movie because of what he did. You know. Yeah. Don't hate the movie because he's an asshole in real life, or Bill Murray could be too. Don't blame them. You know. Some of the writing is the issue mainly. Yeah. But anyway, guys. Yeah. And this film had nearly what 4 writers on it. Not just one writer before. You don't need 4 writers in an Ant-Man movie or story, whatever you're trying to pull in it. But regardless, though, it's still a good movie for what it is. I like it for what it is, but it's still my least favorite Ant-Man movie. So anyway, my rating for Ant-Man: The Wasp: Quantumania, Ant-Man 3. My rating for this film is 4 to 5 stars and a thumbs up. Mildly thumbs up because I still enjoy it. I just think it needs to be improved a little bit. But that's just my opinion. If I'm making any sense. So guys, again, my rating for this film is 4 to 5 stars and a mild thumbs up. That mild means it could be a little better in my book. But anyway, guys, tell me in the comments down below. What do you think of Ant-Man: The Quantumania? Ant-Man 3. What do you think of this film, the third Ant-Man movie? In your opinion, do you like it? Do you hate it? And if you hate it, that's fine. We agree to disagree. But I think I can understand why if you don't like it. I'm not going to defend it. I'm not defending this film, guys. I'm just giving my opinion on it. Don't take it the wrong way. Remember, just my video, my opinion. I do get enjoyment out of this movie. I just think it, like I said, it needs to be improved. But anyway, don't know what else I can say about it, guys, except that. In the next review, guys, this is a DCU film. I think it's the 12th film in the DCU. Yeah, I think I'll write it. I'll put it in the community post for But anyway, this should be the 12th MCU movie. This was right after Black Adam. That was October 2022. And this was 2023. This is the sequel to Shazam, starring Zachary Levi, Lucy Liu, and pretty much all the other cast members coming back from the first movie. I'm talking about Shazam from 2019. The first film, yes, was Zachary Levi. And that is the 2023 sequel, the 12th film in the DCU. I might as well just go ahead and put it on my get it on Wikipedia because I might review it today because I'm off tomorrow too, so I should have enough time to do another review today. Yes, it is the 12th installment of the DC Extended Universe DCU. And a sequel to Shazam from 2019. That is the next review will be Shazam: Fury of the Gods. This one came out March 17th. Yeah, so this was March. Then I have another DC movie that came out in March, too, DC animated movie, but this will be first. I think that film was this was March 17th. That film I think was March 28th. So yeah. So Shazam: Fury of the Gods. This will be the next review, so stay tuned for that, guys. Again, my rating for Ant-Man Loves Quantumania, mild thumbs up, and 4 to 5 stars in my regular film. So tell me, guys, in the comments down below, what do you think of Ant-Man Loves Quantumania, in your opinion? How would you rank the Ant-Man movies? How would you rank the Ant-Man movies? How would you rank the MCU movies? How would you rank this in the MCU? Would you put it on top, middle, or low? What would it be in your ranking, this movie, in your opinion? Yeah. So just tell me what you think of it, and guys, stay tuned for my next review today, which will be Shazam. Shazam! Fear of the Gods. Coming up next. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Bye bye.